Hey guys, it's Britt. Today we're here to react to Brianna K's new video. I had some thoughts about some of the things that she has said, so if you're interested, please keep watching. All right, you guys, so if you're not familiar with who Brianna K is, she also goes by Bits of Brie on Instagram. She has 422,000 subscribers here on YouTube. I don't really consider her much of a family vlogger like I do the Ace family or LeBrance. She features her kids some, but she is more of like a cleaning and decorating kind of channel. Think of like Love Meg. Brianna K has definitely not been unproblematic during her time online. She has done this YouTuber master course that she was charging $1,000 for. That was gross. She's definitely plugged MLMs multiple times on her channel. So, you know, as far as being unproblematic, she's definitely not unproblematic. Do I think that she has literally built everything off the backs of her kids? No, I don't. But she's still someone who's open to criticism. And I recently mentioned in another video how Dad Challenge podcast showed her house on Google Maps. That's been a really hot topic. It's wrong. Like, I don't care what she does. She doesn't deserve to have her personal safety or the safety of her children put at risk because of someone's personal distaste for her that runs a commentary channel. So even though I don't care for her, definitely not ever going to be totally unfair to her or put her at risk. That is definitely a line that needs to be made abundantly clear in 2022. It should have already been there, but just because we might not care for a YouTuber, that also doesn't mean that their personal safety should ever be put at risk. And that's, again, what I would definitely consider going real life. And I don't support going real life. Like I said, there is, I would say, one circumstance that I would be justified going real life, and that is if you witness on video and you have proof of animal or child abuse happening, then you as a citizen have a duty to contact authorities. But aside from that, there's no reason to go real life, and there's no reason to put someone's safety at risk because you happen to not like them. But we're gonna watch this video. It was posted 5 days ago, and it says Real Talk Mom Burnout Venting Clean with Me. She's taking down her decorations. I have listened to part of this, but I wanted to get an understanding of what she was talking about before I just jumped on and did a reaction. And I definitely want to talk about this. So first of all, let's talk about the description box. She says, if you make it through this entire video, you're definitely one of my very best friends. And obviously this is something that a lot of YouTubers do. They really lean into trying to build parasocial relationships in order to gain monetarily from their audience, and calling strangers on the internet that you don't know their name, you don't know what their family is, you don't know anything about them, calling those people your best friends, to me is manipulation. But what do I know? And it goes on to say, are you so burnt out too? At this point, the mom burnout is so real. I'm exhausted and had to clean my house and take down our Christmas decor because I need a fresh start in 2022. So clean and undecorate with me and vent with me in the comments, because I'm going off about everything in this video uncensored. How I feel about parenting right now, how frustrated I am with online bullying and gossip and constant judgment, how hard the past 2 years were being pregnant during a pandemic with all the restrictions, my mental health being destroyed, relationships struggling, and what I'm going to try to do this month to find myself again, because I've been completely lost between motherhood, grieving my dad and my parents' divorce, and grieving the loss of life as we knew it before 2020. And she goes on to talk a little bit about New Year, glad you're here, support each other, and all that kind of whatever. So
Brianna, Happy New Year. Welcome back to my channel for today's clean and decorate me or undecorate me video, excuse me. Happy New Year. We're going to take down all of the decorations, just get things cleaned and organized so that we can have a fresh start. Let me know if you have any goals for the new year in the comments while you're watching today. And if you're new here, click that subscribe button so that you can join our family. Everything in here is pretty messy, so I'm very excited to clean it up, even though I will miss all of like the twinkling lights. I love it at night. My favorite thing is like watching TV with the tree on, but time for a nice, clean, back to more minimal house.
So I don't know about you, but I'm feeling 22. Just kidding. I'm freaking burnt the frick out because 2 years of this never-ending cycle of anxiety and stress and fear about a million things, getting sick, getting shots, school canceled, events canceled, more COVID restrictions, not being able to find tests, quarantining, the never-ending messy house because everyone is home all the time, homeschooling, meal planning, no alone time, like no alone time ever anymore. Always having to be on, meeting the needs of everyone in the family without a break or any.
But one thing I also want to say before we get into this video is that keep in mind while watching this, I understand that YouTubers have feelings. YouTubers go through emotions just like the rest of us do. But the position that influencers are in, when I hear them complaining about restrictions or having to stay home and things like this, it puts a very sour taste in my mouth because I relate to everyone who's not an influencer, people who have continued to have to go to work every day and, you know, they're in customer service, so they're not in a position where they can just go to their office and shut the door. They're being exposed to everyone that they're around. They might be working in a really toxic work environment. They could be, you know, maybe they lost their job and they're trying to find their way back into the workforce. There are so many really terrible circumstances that this last 2 years has dealt a lot of people. So when I hear YouTubers say, oh, well, you know, all of the restrictions, it's like, but you have put yourself in a position, a very privileged position, to be able to sit at home and film videos. So not saying that that's a cakewalk, and I understand that, you know, when you have kids and stuff, that's a totally different scenario. But when it comes to the perfect job for someone when we're going through a global pandemic, I cannot think of something that would be easier than being a YouTuber, because all you have to do is turn your camera on and sit in your house and film content. Could it possibly get a little bit recycled, maybe a little bit boring? Sure, but at the same time, you have built your channel to this point. So to have the privilege of being able to sit in your home, in the comfort of your own home, and make lots and lots of income, not having to go outside, is the most privileged position to be able to have when everyone else is risking their life, their safety, their health, by having to go out and go to their job site in order to actually make money.
Just the mental load of it all. I just can't anymore. I've been done, but I'm doneer and over it all. I don't know about you. Feel free if you need to vent about whatever you need in the comments today, because honestly, it feels so good just to get all this off my chest, and that's what I'm going to be doing in this video. I have always tried to show up on YouTube in a...
She always does this with the comments, trying to generate comments. I've been watching enough of her content to have caught on to this, and a lot of influencers do it, but she'll say, tell me about this in the comments, tell me about that in the comments, what's your favorite color, what's your favorite holiday dish, where are you traveling this summer? Every single video she will have something, and you know, it's smart on her part, but it's a way to get a lot more comments than you would probably typically get by plugging in these little, oh, what's your dog's name? What's, you know, what are your kids looking forward to this year? Like these kinds of things. It's just a way to get her video, you know, into the algorithm, make sure that people are leaving comments, because that is considered engagement. There is nothing that is truly genuine about wanting people to vent in the comments. It's all so that the algorithm will favor this video. And if you look at her comment section, she, you know, collects comments, but there are only a few that were acknowledged by her, and she doesn't respond to comments, that's for sure. But she will heart a couple of them and then keep it moving. So I counted 25 comments that she actually hearted and 5 that she responded to, and that is out of 1,800 comments. So let's even bump it up a little bit and say that she acknowledged 40 of the comments by hearting them. You're asking for people to vent as if someone else is going to listen to them, and their comment doesn't even get acknowledged. So I don't know. For me, it's very obvious what she's doing, but it's just something to keep in mind. This effort to come across as being genuine and wanting to hear about your problems and tell me all of your frustrations and tell me your opinions. When you do that, but then the comments are not acknowledged, to me, it just is another way to show that you don't really care. You care about the engagement on the video.
Positive and motivating way. And just right now, if I'm being honest, I just can't. And I also just don't find that to even be motivating to me at the moment. And I think some of you are feeling that way too. We all just need a good venting session. We don't have the energy to do all the things anymore. And I just think it can be reassuring to hear somebody say, I'm angry too, or I'm frustrated too, I'm so over all of this too. And you can just say, me too. And I'm really a more energetic and positive person most of the time. So if you do need to see that today, I totally understand. If you click out of this video, you can go check out some of my other cleaning motivation videos. I have KonMari declutter with me videos if you're looking to declutter. I have organization videos if you're looking for organization. But right now in this video, I'm taking down my Christmas decorations, and I just can't be like super positive right now. There's just a lot on my heart that I want to say. And so that's why I hope this video helps you clean with a friend, take down your decorations, and we're just going to have a real heart to heart.
And I also want to reiterate this. Again, I'm not saying that YouTubers don't have emotions, they don't have feelings, they are robots and just kind of move through life in that manner, because they're all real people and everyone has actual emotions and things that get them upset. But at the same time, when the list of complaints are coming from such a privileged position, that's where I have a hard time connecting and saying, you know what, I really do feel bad. Now, some of the things in this video I will agree with for sure, but as far as feeling genuinely like I'm really sorry, there's not a whole lot that I can say. I'm really sorry about how that happened, because it comes from such a place of privilege and high regard. Like, she is in a very lucky position that I guarantee 99% of her subscribers are not in, unless they're also YouTubers who make enough money to sustain a household. Most of them are not. So to hear her complaining like this to her subscribers that are most likely going out into the workforce, having to worry about how they're going to feed their family next week, job security, relationship stress, all of the above, to me, it's just kind of like, I don't know. It's just not a list of complaints that I can get my heart really involved in, but that's just me.
Just because I feel like that's what girlfriends do, right? Like, you have a venting session so that you can have a fresh and clean start to the new year. So that's what we're going to do today. So you can have a fresh and clean start in your home and your decor, and whatever else you need to vent or get off your chest in the comments, go for it. Because, you know, we cannot control all the other stuff that's happening in the world, but at least we can feel a little less depressed that our homes are nice and clean for the 5 minutes, because I know that's how long my house.
But when it comes to this whole girlfriend lingo that she wants to throw around, yes, you can do that with people that are actually your friends and actually people that you talk to. But for her, she is putting this video out asking for people to vent in the comments so that their comment can be acknowledged by maybe a fellow subscriber, but definitely not Brie, because she's definitely not down there in the comments talking with people like friends do.
Usually stays clean after I make one of these videos with kids and my husband home all the time. And you guys know, like, I'm not a minimal at heart. I'm usually very extra and over the top, and I constantly fail at being a minimalist. But as much as I love decorating, I mean, you guys know, decorating makes me so happy. I mean, I made 3 decorate me videos for Christmas in our small home this year because I love it so much. And I don't know, I guess so I'm changing. And there is something that is really refreshing to me about chic, clean, minimal, blank spaces, even though quite honestly, my kids hate it. Like, Langton already said to me, Mommy, I really miss the Christmas decorations after I took all these down. So it is nice to know how happy the decorations make them when they're up. But at this point, after all the work that goes into the holidays and all the stuff that's been going on, I just want blank, plain, boring, simple, slow, easy. You feel me too?
I An influencer's entire existence, especially these clean and decorate with me kind of channels, their entire existence is the opposite of what minimalism is. It's constantly, oh, you should buy this to organize. You should buy these new things at Target that just came out that will make your life easier. Buy these decorations. This is all the stuff that you need to buy for Easter baskets. Like, it's constant commercialism, and I understand like shopping can be fun. I like to shop myself, but when it comes to someone who is so over the top, their entire channel is a running ad, to hear her say that she is interested in minimalism is interesting to me. I think that it, you know, would make for some different content, but once you consider the money that you could be losing out on by not having your channel be a constant running ad for junk that nobody needs, I think that she would probably end up changing her mind, but who knows. Okay, I'm going to skip ahead just a little bit. She doesn't really have a whole lot to say. She eats goldfish, but I want to get into when she's actually like venting. So here we go.
Around for all the changes that we've had in a family this past year. If you're new, we've had a new baby. We moved to Hawaii, and there was a lot of internet rumors of 2021. And just, I'm so freaking grateful if you've stuck around through all of that. Like, I have no other words besides thank you. Just thanks for being here with me. And
I don't know of a lot of subscribers that would leave a YouTuber because of rumors. Correct me if I'm wrong, of course, as always. But when it comes to me deciding, you know, I can only speak for myself, but when I'm thinking of unsubscribing from a YouTuber, it's not because of a rumor. It's typically because of a pattern of behavior. I'm no longer interested in any of their content, so I don't want it on my timeline anymore. I personally have never made a decision based off of, oh, I heard this, so I'm going to unsubscribe, or this person's saying this, so I'm going to unsubscribe from this YouTuber. I don't know. For me, that's just not a way that I would ever make a decision, but maybe it's just me, so who knows.
For realizing I have flaws, I have many flaws, and I have a fear like you're not going to like me after this video and after you hear what I have to say, but I need to say it. And there's just some lies I want to clear up. I've briefly addressed some things, but I feel like I'm just going to address the rumors for good, and then I don't want to talk about it anymore because I'm sick of these drama channels ruining every phone call with my grandma because she watches all of them and she gets so upset. She reads all of the comments, and it's just not what I want my conversations with my 84-year-old grandma to be about.
Here's the thing that I'll say. Y'all know I was very, very close with my grandmother, so I understand that relationship between granddaughter and grandmother on a level that I'm sure a lot of other people understand as well, but I understand it deeply. So when I heard her say this, I fully understand how that would be upsetting for, I could only imagine if my grandma was watching videos made against me, she would be upset as well. But when it comes to putting your life onto YouTube, there are going to be people who don't like you, and they're going to make opinion videos, and some of it might be slanderous and a lot of it might be lies. So the way that I would, you know, help that is to ask her to stop looking at videos on drama channels. Like, Grandma, why are you on drama channels? Go watch soap operas instead. You know what I mean? Like, don't watch what other people are saying about me, watch me, and then sign off of the internet. Like, if that is something that is upsetting, then don't watch it, because there is really nothing that you can do to get rid of other people's opinions about you. There are so many, and while I don't agree with outright lying or, like I said earlier, putting someone in danger because you don't like them, I don't like any of that, and I will never agree with any of it. But when it comes to a family member being upset by seeing this type of content, I would just encourage them to not look at it, because unfortunately, when I chose to put part of my life out onto YouTube, that is content that people can react to and have comments about. And, you know, especially some of the stuff that Brianna K has done with the I remember one of the first things I talked about her in a video was that YouTuber class that she put, asking people for $1,000 to become a master YouTuber, and then looking at the people that actually paid that money and seeing that their channels were nothing, like they literally did not grow because of your class, and then plugging products from MLMs is not good. Like, you know, of course, that's just my opinion, and some people might not care about things like that. But to me, you cannot say that you're here to support other moms and we're best friends and I'm here to support you guys and vent to me and I'll vent to you and all this kind of stuff. But on the other page, you are pushing out these products from MLMs, knowing that they are predatory in nature, knowing that there are better products at the drugstore or, you know, at Sephora or any store. So it's definitely not a requirement to dive into MLM products because they're junk. But you cannot shut down other people's opinions. But on the same page, I really, really do understand the relationship that she probably has with her grandmother, and I understand why it would be upsetting. But Brie also has a voice that she can use on her own. Like, instead of crying about it on your channel, even though I know it's upsetting, that would be a private conversation that I had with my grandmother to say, please stop looking at these channels, and if you want to watch YouTube, you watch my content and then go back to watching General Hospital, One Life to Live, whatever it is, you know, your favorite soap opera. Because I know my grandmother used to love soap operas. Like, that was her thing. And it was all good. So just to divert the attention, some of the content that is made in poor taste is not affecting her. I wouldn't even allow, you know, anyone to see me hurting in this way. I would have the conversation offline with my grandmother, and you know, at a certain point you can't allow people to see you hurt, because if you see people, I have a really good friend that told me this a while ago and it really resonated with me, and she's probably watching this video, I know you are. So, but she said, you can't allow people to see you hurting. So, you know, if you allow people to see you hurting, if they are actually hurting you, then they're really going to, you know, kind of zoom into those weak points and exploit them and continue to, you know, allow it to be a snowball effect. And there's really not been a whole lot on YouTube that has really hurt me. There's been a couple comments that have just, like, you know, kind of caught me off guard and I wasn't prepared for it. But as far as allowing people to see me hurt because of what a drama channel is doing is easily avoidable. Just, you know, I don't know, vent to a friend that you have in real life, vent to a family member who understands it, you know, and I'm also a big advocate for therapy, always am.
And it really, really sucks to have your own family believing the lies of strangers on the internet instead of knowing the girl that they have helped raise for 34 years. And I do just want to say, like, I am not mad at my grandma. I just want to make that clear. I love my...
But why would she even be believing lies? Like, I don't know, my family members, like, don't watch stupid videos that are made about me, but even if they did, it would be literally a attention span of about maybe 42 seconds to hear what people are saying and to immediately tune out, because nobody knows you like your real life friends and family do. So why would she even be believing it? I understand the upsetting part, but to say she's believing it is quite alarming, especially considering this is like someone that's known you your entire life.
GG so much. But like so many of us have seen this past year, there's just tons of misinformation that's shared and believed on the internet all of the time. And it is destroying families and relationships. So for those of you who have stuck by me, just thank you. And I also just want to say thank you for liking me more than my house in Ohio. I don't think anyone has to like me. I want to make that really, really clear. Like, I totally get I'm not everyone's cup of tea. That's how the world works. Like, we have certain people we click with and connect with, and it's cool. If you're still watching at this point and you don't click and connect with me, honestly, I don't know why you haven't clicked out or unsubscribed at this point. Follow somebody who uplifts you.
This whole pity thing, oh, if you haven't unsubscribed, oh, thank you for still being here. Like, just keep it moving. We get the point.
If you don't like me and what I have to talk about. But it is still hurtful when I see the comments and messages that's like, I'm stopping watching you because I liked your Ohio house. So
now the whole thing with her in the Ohio house, let's talk about that for a second. In my opinion, based on everything that I've heard from my own subscribers, things that I've seen in her own comment section about the Ohio house, it's not that people liked the Ohio house. Like, that would be kind of silly. People liked the person that she was a couple of years ago. They've seen a shift in her personality, the way that she will clap back at people that have an opposing opinion. And this is something that we see with a lot of different YouTubers, where the growth in subscribers and the growth in income changes how they interact with people who don't have the same opinion. It will change their demeanor on camera. It will change the way that they respond to criticism. So I don't believe that people are saying, oh, we liked your house in Ohio better. They're saying that a couple of years ago, she presented differently on camera. Her content was definitely more relatable. There wasn't so much consumerism and constant ads on her channel. This was also before the YouTuber master course came around. So I think that the version of Brie that people miss is just the fact that it was a couple years ago while she still lived in Ohio. It has nothing to do with we liked your Ohio house. It's the shift that people have seen over the last couple of years, just my opinion.
For those of you who have stuck by me through these changes. Sorry, I told you this is going to be real. I just really needed to get some stuff off my chest, but just really thank you. Thanks for liking me more than my house in Ohio and realizing that, like, I'm a human being. And I know that was an amazing house and I love that house so much. And I'm so beyond thankful for that home and all the special memories that we made there. It was so fun to decorate. And that's why I'm so grateful to have all those videos to look back on and reminisce.
And correct me if I'm wrong, because maybe I do have this wrong, but people don't like someone because of their house. They like the version that that person was while they resided at said house. I hope that makes sense.
But, I've changed a lot since the time that I was making those videos. And again, I get it. It's totally okay for anybody who wasn't up for the changes to have moved on to a home that they, like to watch better. I get it. And like, there are people who I've loved following at certain points in my life who then I just don't relate to anymore. I've never needed to proclaim that to them. I just feel like that's so hurtful. I don't want to hurt anyone's feelings. So, I get it.
People who support you for part of your journey and make a decision to leave have every right to, I know a lot of YouTubers say you don't need to announce your departure. It's not an airport. It's not a train station. I have no problem with anyone announcing their departure. Never have. Now, if you're going to announce your departure and, throw a bunch of insults on your way out, then that's unnecessary. But if you supported someone for 3 months, 2 years, 5 years, however long it is, you were part of their journey. So you have every right to say, your content's no longer for me. And sometimes the small amount of criticism that they can leave on their way out could end up helping that YouTuber understand, okay, why am I losing subscribers? Instead of thinking that it's because of a house, they might actually be able to say, okay, I heard this from this person and they're all kind of similar pieces of criticism. Maybe that's something that I should reflect on instead of saying that someone liked my house more than me. Does that make sense? I hope it does.
Though, I think for those of you who've stuck around and, have not judged me and believed me and my truth through all the lies, like, we did not move to Hawaii for Adam to go to rehab. He did not have a pill addiction. He didn't cheat on me. And quite honestly, if any of those things were true.
Okay, so I've talked about this before, so I'm not going to rant forever about it. But as far as that rumor that happened when they were first moving to Hawaii about Adam going out there to go to rehab, I never agreed with that. I didn't like that that rumor started. I don't believe that that's something that should just be tossed around because, addiction is a very serious disease that affects millions and millions of Americans, and people all around the world too. But when it comes to just throwing something like that out there without Bree or Adam confirming that that's what was going on is completely unfair. I do not ever support just speculating as to something that serious. Anytime someone speculates on something like that, whether it's this rehab thing or infidelity, I want you guys to think, whoever it is that you're hearing that from, what would that person say if another commentary channel came up and said, oh yeah, so and so went to this place because they need rehab, or oh they announced this, so that means that there was a bunch of cheating. And this is what I think about it. As commentary channels, I just think that, like, as a general rule, it needs to be kind of like reeled in a little bit when speculations are being thrown out, because I have seen a few, including the rehab thing, that are just totally out of line. Like, it doesn't add to the conversation. It's not needed. It's not required. And it's, it can be extremely hurtful to the YouTuber. And at the end of the day, yes, they do still have feelings, and that's the side that I'm going to stand on. The speculations just hold no value for me.
Like, that happens to people out there, and it's devastating. Like, people need comfort and support, and it's also just so mean to talk about people's business like that. I'm just so sorry for anyone who's been in any of those situations. If people have talked about it behind your back and judged you, it's so wrong. It's honestly nobody else's business. We all have struggles. If you need to go to rehab, good for you for wanting to make a positive change in your life. Like, we are allowed to make mistakes and grow, and no one should get canceled because of a mistake that they've made. No one is perfect, and I've just seen so many people bullied online for stuff. I honestly think I have complex PTSD, and just every new wave of this virus, it feels like that too. I don't know if you're feeling that way too. Like, we were told at the beginning of this thing, 2 weeks being on lockdown, and even that made people go crazy. And now it's been 2 years. Just sharing, like, I was on house arrest basically for my entire pregnancy. I only went to doctor's appointments and to Target and Walmart. I went at 7 a.m. during the high risk hours just a few times to get Christmas decorations because I was feeling so depressed and isolated. And it's also just frustrating. Like, I've tried to follow all the rules.
Okay, so the whole thing with her comparing being on lockdown to being on house arrest, I remember when Ellen did this in the beginning of the beginning of lockdowns, comparing it to being in jail or in house arrest or whatever. This is extremely ignorant and very tone deaf to compare being in your luxury home with all of your necessities and more, because as we saw last year, actually, in 2020, Brianna K absolutely ransacked the grocery stores, stockpiled everything. So you're in the comfort of your own home, a very nice home at that. You are able to work out of your home because you're a YouTuber and continue to make the same amount of income. You are not having to go out and be at risk for catching COVID. And while I understand that being at home is difficult, it's definitely not the end of the world. So to hear that her being at home made her think of being on house arrest is, again, I think it goes back to showing how much privilege this woman has and how ignorant she is to, people actually being on house arrest and actually having to stay at home. You weren't on house arrest. You just said that you went to Target and Walmart to buy Christmas decorations. Oh my God, life is so hard. I just had to go to Target to get some Christmas decorations. So ignorant comparisons are a no for me.
Wear a mask. We had extra shields while traveling. When we moved to Hawaii, we stayed very isolated and at home, besides, outdoor hikes and the beach where we would be more distanced. And, I've gotten vaccinated and boosted, and I've tried so hard to follow all these rules. And, I don't think I deserve an award, because I know there's a tons of people out there too who are doing whatever they can to try to make this thing end. And I'm just so annoyed at this point that all the healthcare workers and the nurses and the teachers who are working so hard. I mean, everybody, this is hard on everyone, but I just think those are the frontline jobs, right? They're seeing this every single day. They're seeing the kids who are whether it's regressing or delayed because of this pandemic. Like, I can only imagine, having been a teacher once myself. And for nurses, I've gotten DMs from nurses who are like, I am body bagging people who I've watched die alone every single day. And I just think it's a slap in the face with this new CDC announcement to be like, go back to work in 5 days. Like, do we even care about other humans at all? Like, I feel like that's what this whole pandemic has just made me feel like, do we care about other people at all? Or do we just care about how much work we can squeeze out of everybody? Like, I don't know. It's just maddening to not have the freedom to do certain activities. And it's just devastating.
Imagine being able to sit in your now second luxury home in Hawaii and have fake outrage about people that you act like you care about. You actually, in my opinion, probably don't care a whole lot about them. This coming from someone like her is just, the privilege and the amount of tone deaf language in this video is astounding.
Especially being here in Hawaii, where so many businesses have relied on tourism and they've had to close. And, I think it's important to be safe, right? And, we'll continue to do that. But traveling safely or doing activities safely, like, everybody needs a break and rest and connection at this point. Like, we are all trying to do our best to survive this feels like never-ending madness. And I just think like all of the judgment about it really, really needs to stop. And just while I'm on a roll here, because I'm mad, obviously, and, after 2 years, everyone has been home more and seen all of the work that women do, and it still is not respected. Like, I cannot stand when people would make comments like, oh, she went to Hawaii because she's just on vacation. Like, the last 2 years, I had 0 maternity leave, not even a day. At 6 weeks postpartum, Adam quit his job, which I didn't want him to, but I was trying to be a respectful wife. And, Adam and I are two very opposite people. Like, he's not as organized as me, so having him home all the time has just made so much more work. And I'm just so mentally broken at this point. Like, I don't feel at peace in my space. I just don't feel at peace ever. And I have no...
How about instead of this video and trauma dumping on your subscribers who definitely have it way harder than you do, living in your home in Hawaii and being able to do work out of your house and, make a lot of money. Instead of this, why not trauma dump on a therapist or a counselor? This, to me, I don't know. To hear this amount of complaining from Brie is just insane.
Alone time, which it just, it feels like I'm always being watched and on for everybody in the house, and it just really has stunted my creativity. Like, I feel so uncreative, which was why I needed YouTube. Like, I wasn't feeling creative in my 9-to-5 job, right? So, I don't know. It's been really frustrating, and obviously without him working, I have been working with more sponsors who I love, and I am so grateful.
So if she feels like she's always on and she can't get 5 minutes, that to me seems like something that should be addressed with her husband instead of being this upset on video and just spilling it all over her audience. There are a lot of single parents, I'm sure, that watch Brianna K, and to hear this amount of complaining from someone like her, where there are single moms and single dads who work full-time jobs and have more than one child, I'm sure is cringeworthy at best for them to hear.
Grateful to have the opportunity, and I know you might not believe this, but it is my honest truth, because I made a promise to myself that I would only work with the brands that I love and that I would recommend to my friends, because that is how I see you here. If you are watching, you are my virtual friend. So I know I've been working with more brands.
Oh, nobody is her friend. That, again, is manipulation, in my opinion. As far as her only working with brands that she loves, influencers work with brands that will pay them. So it's not, now I'm not saying all of them, but once we're talking about a full-time YouTuber who is very concerned about their bottom line and how much they're going to be able to bring in, this is her nest egg. This is her main source of income, is brand deals and her YouTube money. So to say that she only is going to work, or she only works with brands that she really loves because her subscribers are her friends, is a huge crock of shit.
Than I did before the pandemic, because brands also started paying less. I never took out a PPP loan, and that was another rumor that was out there. But if an awesome brand did reach out, I figured it was God's way of saying, here, I'm going to take care of you, because I was the sole breadwinner for our family, which is so hard. If you know that your family is relying on you not only as a mom to nurture and comfort them during a time when we all are needing that so desperately, but then I'm also having to work to make sure all the food, clothes, bills, health insurance, all the things that they need to stay safe.
Exactly. So don't sit there and put out this line that, oh, I only work with brands that I love, when in the next sentence you're saying how important it is to make sure that you can provide for your family. So you're really going to turn on a brand deal because you don't love the brand or you don't love the products. But if they're offering you $20,000 for a sponsorship, I have a very hard time believing that she would walk away from an opportunity like that, whether or not she likes the junk that the brand is selling.
It is just so much pressure work-wise. And on top of that, I've been breastfeeding. I'm just trying to make sure all my babies are getting quality time and attention and love from me on top of this crazy work schedule. And I'm just broken. Every time I work with a brand, people will just be like walking ad and say horrible things or try to tell brands not to work with me. And it's so hard. All I'm trying to do is make a nice life for my babies and keep this family going. So
subscribers don't have any issue with an influencer doing a brand deal. In fact, most subscribers are very happy for influencers that are in a position where they can get brand deals and they can work with companies. It's an exciting time to see a YouTuber be able to, have these opportunities. But when it becomes too much, people will catch on. And if I went through her Instagram a while ago, and it was like out of the last 25 posts, 19 of them were sponsored content. And that's not even including Instagram stories. So when you make that transition, it has to be a happy medium. And especially when we are in the middle of a global panini, it's very important to stay grounded and understand that there are people who are watching your content and they want to support you. But people will check out if your channel starts to become something that is just a money mill and a way just to generate revenue. People can see through it. People can see what's genuine and what's not. If she's hearing walking ad echoed, it's for good reason, in my opinion.
So grateful for the opportunities, but I'm completely stressed out. I don't have the time to do all the things that I should be doing for my business. I would love to have just more time with my kids, but I can only do what I can do, and I definitely just don't have any time to take care of me. So I know other moms get it. I know that you understand this, and it's so annoying because no man who does all of that work would ever face this scrutiny or have, all these online bullies coming after them. And I also just think it's so sad.
Okay, so it's totally not fair for her to categorize criticism as bullies. Now, I'm pretty sure that there are a few that are very cruel to her because of the size of her platform and the attention, especially from like Dad Challenge podcasts. His followers can be very, but if someone's just saying, oh, your channel's turned into a walking ad, that's not bullying. Let's not boo-hoo in a way of lying. You don't like when people lie about you. Let's not just call all criticism bullying. Please stop.
To see the numbers of tons of women who have left the workforce these last 2 years because of the pandemic. And, it's because nobody can do what we do in our homes for our homes and our babies and our families. And I'm just so over women being disrespected. I cannot stand when people think stay-at-home moms or homemakers don't work, and the comments that are like, YouTube isn't a real job. Like, I dare you, if you're sitting there thinking that it's not actually working or that this is not hard, take your phone, film your day, make a day in the life video, make a thumbnail that's going to be interesting enough that people will click on it, figure out the best title and tags so that you get a ton of views, find the music for it and edit it. And, it's interesting because when you start editing your videos, I hear this from people in my course all the time, you start noticing all these little things, like how you talk, how your hair was a little bit messed up, how your outfit didn't look quite right, how certain rooms in your home, the lighting isn't good enough, or how you messed up certain angles. Like, you realize
yeah, so, and, this is definitely not to pat myself on the back, but just to be transparent about it. I do all those things and I work a full-time job. No, I don't have kids, but I still manage a household. I work full-time and I run my YouTube channel. I do all of my editing, all of my thumbnails, all of the content, the ideas, everything. And Brie has people who can help her. She has people who can help her with thumbnails and give her ideas on how to change video tags or what to film to get a boost in engagement or views. So I get it that she films by herself, but let's also not act like, being a full-time YouTuber and a mom is the same as being a single parent who works a full-time job and has to still run the house and take care of their children. I'm on her side with some of this stuff, but a lot of it also sounds like a boohoo pity party where she's not recognizing the amount of privilege that she has, that, like I said, 99.9% of her subscribers don't have near the amount of privilege that she has.
Realize all of these things as you're editing, and then you see all those mistakes and you have to be confident enough to still post your video. So muster up that courage to post the video and get a bunch of comments and critiques and judgments on every little thing that maybe you didn't even realize that you did wrong. And you have to do this 2 to 3 times a week. And because when you're first getting started, you have to post at least that much so that your channel is growing, and then work your way up to a channel with 100,000 subscribers is usually everybody's first big milestone goal, and average 100K views on your videos. And then let me know the hours that it took you every single week to make that happen. And if you still don't think that this is a job or that this isn't hard, I'm sorry, you're a liar, because YouTube is not easy. That's why I started my course, because I wanted to make it easier for other women. And, I know I'm being quite negative and ranting in this video, but
YouTube is not, I wouldn't consider YouTube easy, but it's definitely much easier than most other jobs. You get to stay in the comfort of your own home. You get to edit from your home. You can edit on the go. If you want to get out of the 4 walls of your house, take your laptop over to Starbucks and sit. Let's not act like running a YouTube channel is like the epitome of what hard work is. Please stop.
YouTube was such an incredible creative outlet for me, and it has just been a place to connect when I'm feeling depressed or isolated. And I think that's what's so beautiful about the YouTube motherhood community, is that it's a community of different stories and experiences. So no matter what you are going through, whether it is going back to work after maternity leave, breastfeeding, pregnancy, infertility, grief, marriage struggles, allergies, the list goes on and on of the things that moms go through that you need support around. It's so important. And no mommy YouTuber is ever going to be perfect. And I don't want anyone to ever think that they should have to only show the perfect or the best things, because we need real moms, right? We need to see what you're doing really great so we can learn those good things. But then we need diverse opinions and perspectives so that we can find the things that are going to work for us. And we all go through hard stuff as moms. We all know that.
So she says that she wants diverse opinions and perspectives, but then she also calls people bullies. So I don't really think that you want other perspectives, because then those people get categorized as people who are announcing their departure and just bullying you and making you cry.
We all have different comfort levels on what we're willing to share too. So sometimes you don't know all the hard stuff that's going on behind closed doors, and that's okay. Nobody should be forced to share anything that they don't want to talk about or share. But connection is so important to moms, and that is why the last things mom need is people picking apart other mothers who are trying to connect and be good moms here. The online bullying of women just needs to stop. So if you want to help.
And I get it. Never will I ever agree with this online bullying that happens sometimes, but a lot of it is just people that are tired of their, kids being exploited for the parents' financial gain, influencers being extremely unrelatable and tone deaf, and, YouTubers that get too big for their britches and become very just unrelatable and privileged. And it's constantly them with their hand out wanting, oh, make sure you watch my video, make sure you join my Patreon, make sure you buy my merch, oh, I'm going to do this giveaway and this is how you have to enter, and you have to follow me, and you have to follow 5 of my friends. It's just constantly that extra thirst for engagement. And I get it, everyone wants their videos to get attention and you want to build an audience, but when it comes to being obnoxious, false advertising, being extremely tone deaf, all of these kinds of things, that's what people get tired of.
Keep this a safe space for women and moms online. If you see any form of online bullying and harassment of anyone on YouTube, please report it. When there are channels that are doxing addresses and putting children's safety at risk, that is not protected under free speech. It's clearly not trying to help child exploitation, just the same way that fraud is not protected by free speech either. I went to journalism school. I'm all for free speech.
So she was definitely talking about Dad Challenge podcast there. And, I said earlier, I fully stand behind her being absolute irate with what Josh did. Now, what he decided to do is, first he put out the video unblurred. Then he blurred the Google Maps, but left the audio in. I said, not that I know it all, but people can still figure it out with the audio. So you're describing landmarks. Why not just take the whole video down, admit that you made a mistake, Would I expect anything else from Josh? No, absolutely not. But I also saw from one of you guys last night that the Google Maps was unblurred. And when I did some investigating, it's because he was cutting that section of the video out. So he left it on public instead of editing it and unlisting it so that it wasn't out there again for all the world to see. He decided to leave it up and told people that it was processing. It would take a few hours. This is, again, this is someone who cannot be wrong. And instead of just eating your pride and admitting that you put a family in danger for no fucking reason at all by showing and, doxing where she lives and putting her kids at risk and putting their safety at risk, he has to continue to be right and just wants to cut out part of the video, but while it's processing, it's going to be unblurred. Does he care? No, not at all. But I fully stand behind Brie for being extremely upset about this, because guess what? She can't just pack up her family and move, and you never know who screen recorded that, who now knows where she lives, who they might share that information with. It is extremely scary, and it has nothing to do with commentary.
But there are certain things that need to get reported because it's not okay. And hateful gossip is just destroying the mental health of other human beings. So please report anything that is threatening. And if it's seriously threatening, report it to the authorities as well. You cannot let these channels hurt and destroy the community of moms who are trying to do good things for other women. It's just so important to keep this a safe space for women to find connection, because connection is critical to our survival, for our babies to thrive and for us to thrive. And yeah, the pandemic, it was just a wake-up call for so many changes. I think a lot of us were like, wow, there are some changes that I want to make in my life now. And I saw so many other people that I follow on IG who have moved to new places. It's actually really crazy. And I'm just wondering, did any of you move during the pandemic? If so, let me know where you moved to, or if you're considering moving somewhere else right now. I'm just curious. I would love to see that in the comments. And yeah, I think somebody asked me about this once on IG, and they're like, you don't have to name.
There's the comment, wanting to collect the comments. Keep it going.
Names, but how did your family take your move? And I think some were very supportive, and some are very, very upset and very hurt and very angry. And I wasn't trying to cause anyone pain. We were trying to do something that we thought would help our kids have a really awesome childhood. And that when we prayed about it, God seemed to over and over and over again say, you're meant to be here. Every time we prayed about it, he made it clear, he answered. And you guys know, since my dad, I am still just a big ball of grief. And quite honestly, I think there's still grief I'm dealing with since my parents' divorce. And I have made so much effort to work through that trauma and pain, and then got served 2020 and 2021, and I'm going to continue to work on it. And, I'm a perfectionist people pleaser who has tried to make videos on here that I thought that people would like. And I think my point is that I've really tried. I've tried really, really hard, and I'm just so tired. I tried so hard to just make good, positive, uplifting content on here, even if I was so low and depressed and burnt out. Because all I'm trying to do is give my babies the best life that I can with what I think God has put in my life. And then I've also tried to share that same gift that I think God gave me with this community in making videos. And
I'm sorry, but if you're burnt out and that upset, YouTube can wait. I get it. That's your main source of income. But if it's to the point where she's making it sound, I would have taken a break from YouTube, because no, you have to, she's telling others to put your mental health first, take care of yourself, all of this kind of stuff. But then you're also saying that you're still making YouTube videos when you're burnt out and depressed. Sign off. It is okay to go offline for a few days.
Trying to share my creativity and trying to share my journey. And I'm still so grateful for the opportunity to share this journey with you. And, I think some of you have said, I really related to you when you were pregnant with Presley. That's when you joined the channel. Or a lot of you have said, I just related to you more when you were in Ohio. And I think now there's some folks who just relate because they've had to move to a new place and are getting reacclimated. And, I think we're all on different places in our journey. And I think that's what's so awesome about life is even though we each have a unique story, there are certain things that we'll connect over. And I think that's just what has been really, really hurtful over the past 2 years, is feeling like so many connections are just getting broken and destroyed. Does anybody else feel that way too? And I know it's a new year, so maybe you've done some reflecting. You've probably changed a lot over the last 2 years if you really think about it. Who were you January 2020? And then who are you right now in January of 2022? There's probably so much stuff going on in your life. Maybe there are things that somebody has misunderstood because they have different opinions. Maybe you also have people lying and gossiping about you. I know it happens all the time. It happens to everyone. So I no way think that I'm the only one. it obviously is just very hurtful no matter what it is. If somebody's being mean to you, it hurts. It hurts.
And I get that if someone's being mean, that it does hurt. I mean, that's not, you don't have to be a rocket scientist to figure that out. But if people are giving commentary and criticism based off of content that she is posting and things that she is saying, then that's part of YouTube. You cannot, I'm so tired of YouTubers doing this thing where anything that's not praise and acceptance is bullying. Like, it's the most ass backwards thing that I've seen in a long time. And I'm not sure if it's just the fact that commentary channels are growing in popularity. I'm not sure if it's because these family vloggers have been vlogging for so long. I don't know what it is, but you have to be able to segregate what is criticism that you might want to listen to once in a while and what is just people who just don't like you. It is what it is. They just don't like you. Nothing you do will ever please them or satisfy them. Those are people that are safe to ignore. But if it's people that are actually giving commentary or feedback on stuff that you actually said and did, and they're not insulting or being cruel, that might be something worth looking at.
And then, I don't know, maybe you've, either moved to a new place, or even if you haven't literally moved, maybe you feel like the world that we're in is a new place, or maybe you're searching for something that feels like a new home in your heart, because all of the things that are just dividing us and breaking connections over the past 2 years can leave you feeling so isolated and so alone. And so I promise you, you're not alone in this. There are other people in this world who totally understand and are feeling what you're feeling. I hope that I'm an example of that, and just don't give up. And, I don't think you need to be perfect. And I think there's no way for you to please everyone and make everybody happy. And that's not your job. All you can do is do your best. And the people who really love you and who are here for you, they're going to show up no matter what. And you will not have to do anything extra or anything over the top or worry about being perfect, because anyone who really loves you is going to understand you. And sometimes I think that's all we really want in life, is to actually be understood and just be seen for who we are, like the good and the bad. And I just hope you know how much God always, always, always loves you for who you are. And you can go to him at any time for whatever you need. So for 2022, I am not making a resolution. I think most resolutions are just kind of stressful, and it's just not the vibe I want anymore, because I've changed. I don't want to cover up the pain that I feel with business anymore. And I just want my 2022 to be calmer, as calm as possible. And I think that's obviously a big part of what drew me into the lifestyle in Hawaii, of having a smaller home that takes less time.
Okay, so she kind of rambles on for a few more minutes, but I want to read a couple of these comments. So, and these are coming from her viewers. Someone said, crazy work schedule. Seriously, I work 50 plus hours a week. It's so hard. I have to do it. It's what's best for my family right now. Our goal is to buy a house. You have too. And your course is absolutely nonsense. Doesn't help anyone. This is a diverse opinion that you are asking for. And that's exactly what I'm saying. Do I think that people are very nitpicky and unnecessary about some of the things that they say? Absolutely. Is that part of being on YouTube? Absolutely. But when it comes to being so tone deaf and so just so much nonsense, like you're sitting here complaining about being a full-time YouTuber, and not just a full-time YouTuber. This is a full-time YouTuber that has 2 homes, that has work flexibility, that does get constant engagement on her videos. So the complaints can be saved for another time, in my opinion. Again, like I said, is she someone who can't have emotions? No, absolutely not. But this kind of like boo-hoo, like all the things that I've been dealing with vibe is not it, in my opinion. It is very insulting to her subscribers, like this person who works 50 hours a week, and all the other ones who work less than that or more than that and have a family to take care of, and they are struggling to figure out how they're going to pay the rent next month. Can they afford all of the groceries that they need? Do they have job security? How are they going to afford daycare when they're being sent back to work and their kids aren't in school yet? There's so many different scenarios. I just don't like the boo-hoo nonsense from YouTubers like her. If Adam is a stay-at-home dad, then where is he and why isn't he stepping up? He sounds more like a fourth child than a husband. Sounds like you two need to have a chat and be honest with each other. Hang in there. And I agree. Someone else said, I'm not sub to you and haven't followed you, but I'll say this. Get your family off social media. I'm just a regular working mom that doesn't have my family public. Your bank account is probably bigger than mine, but at what cost? I don't envy you. I don't envy anyone that makes their business putting their life online for all to see. It's time for you to rethink everything. You'll be much happier if you leave YouTube and social media, but I'm sure your family now relies on this to survive. So I guess my message is for anyone that's thinking about adopting this lifestyle you have, it's not all sunshine and rainbows. There's like people in the comments telling her how perfect she is and how everything is perfect. The idolizing influencers for me is not it. It never was it. But to finish out my thoughts on this video, I will say that I understand that life gets hard and I understand that it's emotional. You know, I go through things and I don't bring them to my platform because I'm not here to trauma dump on my subscribers. Once in a while, will I vent? Absolutely. But I use YouTube as my creative outlet, and I know that you guys use my channel as a way to be entertained for a few minutes in the middle of a workday or as a way to unwind at the end of the night. I am not here to constantly say how hard life is and all that I'm going through. Just because that's not what I'm here for, it doesn't mean that it's the right thing. But this way that she delivered this video, where it was sassy and like clapping back, but also really upset in some parts, it seemed to resonate with a lot of her audience. But in my opinion, Brie is someone who needs to remind herself. She's been doing YouTube a lot longer than I have, and this was one of the first things that I really understood, was that not all feedback is negative feedback. Not all criticism is meant to be taken as an insult. Some of it you actually need to resonate and reflect on, and you can tell the people that just don't like you from a mile away. And those are the ones that you should ignore. But as far as a lot of these hot words that she's using, bullying, mental health, you know, you have to be able to let it roll off your back. At a certain point, if you want to categorize it all as haters, then ignore all of it and see where your channel goes from there. I'm not sure, but for me, this seemed like a mix of a pity party, but also had a ton of privilege and nonsense laced throughout it. Like, who compares being in your house on quarantine to being on house arrest? That is so dumb, and it really speaks to her privilege yet again. So that's going to be it for now. I know this video is going to be really long, so hopefully you guys, you know, stuck there with me. But for now, if you liked it, leave a like and a comment. And if you'd like to see more from me in the future, please subscribe. I'll see you guys soon. Bye.